Thank you, Chair. I wonder if you'd mind if I opened with a couple of very well-known psychological experiments. In 1967, the blue eyes, brown eyes experiment was run by teacher Jane Elliott. She was a third grade teacher. She pitted friends against each other by explaining that those with blue eyes were superior to those with brown eyes. She gave the blue-eyed students special treatment, and she highlighted the mistakes made by those with brown eyes. And then she stepped back. And within a very short time, those pupils were visiting physical harm upon their own friends. The Stanford prison experiment split a friendship group of older students into prisoners and guards. And in these older students, this experiment yielded similar results. The Milgram experiment demonstrated that even compassionate, conscientious people can be persuaded remarkably easily to inflict serious harm, potentially even death upon others, when an environment enables them to do so. I remember the first time that I saw my daughter, and my mind changed immediately. My primary focus in life was to protect that person. I wondered if either of you have children.
I don't have children, no.
I do, although they're 5 and 2. So.
My daughter's 5 too. Oh. Excellent. If you believed that another person was influencing your child to harm themselves, would you want to know about it?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
You know who Giles Sweeney was? So Giles lived just a couple of miles away from me until he took his own life. If you found your child the way that Giles's mother found him, would you want to know why?
Yes.
Are you aware that TikTok has declined to release Giles's social media history to his parents, and that she's currently taking TikTok to court in the United States?
So if I can start by saying, I completely empathise with the point you're making about the horror of some of the situation that occurred. I think we've spoken to Giles's mother on a number of occasions about this issue. There is an ongoing court case, so there's a limit to what I can say, as you'd expect, because it's important that those things play out. It is worth saying, though, that when it comes to the question of data, we have talked to her about that and about the sequence of events, which means we have a duty, under legal duties under GDPR, to delete certain data after a certain amount of time. As you'd expect, we have to follow that, and that does impact on some of those issues. Obviously, there's legislation going through at the moment directly related to this, which we actively engage with the Department for Science and Technology, the Home Office and others on as well, to see if you can improve that situation in the long run. But absolutely, I think there isn't anyone who would be opposed to kind of finding a good solution to this that means data is preserved in such circumstances.
Are you saying that data has been deleted?
I don't want to go too much into the court case and exactly what's going to happen, as I'm sure you'd appreciate. We have had that conversation directly, and we'll continue to go through the process of the court case. But I'm saying that there are mechanisms by which data has to be deleted, and in terms of when police investigations start and when they come to us to ask for data, obviously if that happens after a period of time, then data can be deleted.
You mentioned GDPR. So where regulations prevent you from sharing that data, do you think that it's incumbent on this House to pass legislation so that to regulate such bodies as TikTok, so that they do share that information with parents?
Yeah, I think finding the kind of the correct way of approaching these two competing kind of legal issues of the importance, and I think we'd all agree on the importance of data protection and GDPR duties to delete data which isn't being used by companies, alongside where there are cases of harm where police, families, others may need access, making sure that's preserved. I think one of the debates that's happening within Parliament, with government, is exactly what the triggers for that are, so that companies like ours know in which circumstances things may be needed to access in the future.
Are you familiar with the red versus blue school wars?
Yes.
What does that mean to you?
So, I think the BBC has described this as what's called a phantom trend, so something which wasn't actually happening but was talked about online. This was something that was made, we were alerted to by a number of police forces. We work directly with police forces and have direct kind of lines of contact with a number of police forces who raised concerns about a very small number of posts on our platform which suggested kind of an attempt to create violence between two schools. It is worth saying that immediately upon being told about this by the police, we acted to remove those small number of accounts. It is also worth saying, and I think this is where the phantom trend issue comes to the fore, that after there was a reporting of a small number of accounts, we saw significant increases of people searching for that content, creating similar content, and indeed, quite rightly, people posting things warning others about it. That actually made the issue much bigger.
On TikTok?
We don't believe so, no. Indeed, we found no evidence at all that we've seen of any kind of coordination of genuine attempts at violence on the platform.
What action did TikTok take?
So we removed, obviously, all the accounts that we'd identified. And again, we're talking a very small number when the issue first came to us. We obviously, as the issue grew because of the reporting, because people were talking about it, we scaled up direct teams. We have direct teams that can work on those kind of escalations. We also took action to, for example, ban a range of search terms which might lead to that kind of content to reduce the ability for people to see it, and put at the top of those where people were searching for that content what we call an interstitial, which says, get violence on, get information on violence, misinformation, our community guidelines, etc., to signpost people away from that kind of behaviour and towards more constructive things.
Have you done any digging into the economic cost of the school closures that occurred because of this?
Again, I haven't seen any. It is worth saying that, to be really clear, as far as we are aware, this was, again, as the BBC described it, a phantom trend. There was never actually any intent at violence. That's our understanding of it from direct conversations with police. We took very, very fast action to remove any and all content around that. I think one of the things that there is always a challenge with when it comes to these kind of things is, we saw genuine parents and others posting warnings to people saying, don't be so stupid as to get involved in this. Sometimes you also see stuff which is disingenuously teaching to warn people to try and perpetuate it. So again, we had to take policy choices about where to draw the line. In that instance, we drew a very high line in removing content, but we saw it grow kind of over the period of time.